Hello, everybody. This is Mark, and I am going to make a video here and talk about some things that I've been doing with the program that I wrote that simulates the Sports Illustrated baseball game that was out there a long time ago. 1970 through 1972 is the only years that it was made, the original one at least. Um, that's when I was a kid, and that's what game I played, and I still like it for a number of reasons. So I've been writing this program that plays the game for you, and you can have different ways of doing it. But I did make some big changes the last few months so that you can play more than one season with one version of my game. I'll show you, what I needed to do that, and then I will show you the 1969 season, which I added with the help of two gentlemen, with how I will mention their names when we get to that point. And I'll play a game between my Detroit Tigers and the Seattle Pilots, who played only 1 year in the major leagues, and that was 1969. So, what you're looking at here is my first screen of my game. I just wrote this one. It's kind of basic. Maybe I need to do some things to make it better. But these are the years that my game will play right now: 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. 71 and 71 and 72 are the ones that came with the game. 68 and 69 are the ones that I added, and I think I'll add a couple more as I go along because I'm able to add them much easier than before. So before we get into that, let me tell you how my game works. You got three modes. You can play one game. You can play uh, manage both teams, or you can have the computer manage one team. You can play an entire season for one team, and the computer will manage the other team that your team is playing, and the computer will play all the other games, and it will use as used lineups. So everything is done. At least every game is started the same way it was started in the year that it happened. And the last way to do it, and I'll do this a couple times also, is you can have it play the entire season automatically as played lineups. Starting pitchers are used, and then the computer manager does everything from that point. It plays all the games in order, and then it shows you the results at the end. So the computer manager has some logic that's not all that complicated, but also not, you know, super simple. But it'll decide when its team wants to bunt or steal, and it'll make the manager base running decisions that Sports Illustrated Baseball includes. So it'll do those decisions. It'll pick out pinch hitters and decide when a pitcher should be pinch hit for, and it will put in relief pitchers either after a pinch hit for the pitcher, or when a pitcher really reaches the limit of his pitching for that day. And the way that my program works is it tallies up the number of hits and runs and walks that a pitcher lets up, and when it gets to a certain level for starters and relievers, it'll bring in a relief pitcher at that point. And the relief pitchers are picked based on how many times they pitched in relief in the actual season. So if a pitcher pitched 50 games in relief and another pitcher pitched 25 games in relief, the first pitcher would have double the chance of getting picked to be the reliever. So that's how that works. And then also alterations to the original game. I made an alteration for base running decisions on hits with two outs. What happens in my game, it didn't happen in the regular game, is that the base runner's speed will be increased by one. And of course, the logic of that is that with two outs and a hit, he's going to be running on contact and not having to make any kind of delays at all. So he should have an advantage over the other situations. I don't use the injuries on the pitcher X chart because I used as played lineups. So if I used injuries and as played lineups, players wouldn't play the right number of games. I'm trying to match the actual season as best I can. Players were added to the 70 and 72 seasons to achieve 15 position players and 10 pitchers per team. And new seasons and also those fringe players are developed using a man named Steve Etzel's spreadsheet, which allows you to pull in stats off Baseball Reference and create SI Sports Illustrated players and teams. So you can do that. That takes a long time, I learned after doing a few. And a guy named Merv Pate, he's a real programmer, unlike me, and he can create the seasons faster because he's automated that. And he also provided some seasons in my game format because I don't use the pictures. I need actual data. So he did that for me. So that's how I got 68 and 69 in there. So that's how the game works. What we will look at a little bit is 1969, which is right here. Some fun facts about 1969. Baltimore Orioles ran away with it, and I even run the simulations over and over, and Baltimore Orioles seem to always win the Eastern Division. No surprise. Washington Senators, managed by Ted Williams, were 10 games over 500, which was a very good season for them. Seattle Pilots, you can see them, their only season of existence. And in the National League, the New York Mets won with great pitching, led by Tom Seaver, who was the Cy Young Award winner and almost the MVP as well. He was second in MVP voting. So with that said, I'll jump over to the game now itself. So I can play any one of these 5 seasons. And what I did, let me show you one more thing before I do. What I did in order to be able to play all those seasons with the same program is here are the files that it uses. This is the program there. The blue box is the actual executable code. Then it needs 3 or 4 or 5 files for each year for batter stats and for pitcher stats, and actually batter data and pitcher data, the input data to use in the game. And then it keeps a pitcher stat and a batter stat. Then it needs a file for all the lineups for the season that I call game info file. And then the last one is for stadium. So each year needs those 5 files. Then all of the years share these files that are down below. There's some pictures that are used in the intro screen. And then there's the dice. If you want to look at the dice, it has to have those. And then here's all the players' names. And what I did is I used Baseball Reference has a kind of a code for each name, and I use those. So I don't have to have a different set of pictures for every single season. I use one set, and it picks it out what it needs. Also, there's the stars. If you want to look at the charts, which you can do. You need those stars for their bunting and their speed. There is the logos of the teams that show up when you pick teams for a game, a single game, and then there are the stadiums, which are down here. And I will show you that I didn't get such a great picture for the Seattle Six Stadium when I get to that point, because there aren't many pictures of that on the internet. So that being said, let's go back to the game. I'll select 1969. So 1969, you can see the standings. There's no games yet. I'll go ahead and run automatically the whole season. It does it pretty quick. I don't know, like 10 seconds maybe. And the American League is done. Now I'll do the National League. And you can see it running through all the games, and it shows the winning and losing pitchers of each games. Now I can look at the standings now, and you can see Baltimore with 109 wins in a real season had 110 here. The Mets won. The Braves don't always win the West, and Minnesota doesn't always win the West on the American League. But this run, Minnesota did win, but the Braves didn't. So I'll do another real quick run. I'll zero all the stats. I'll do American League, and followed up by National League. And then we'll see how this full season run came out. And again, the Baltimore Orioles won. Minnesota won the West. Okay, Pirates beat the Mets that time. And the Braves won their division. I'll do one more time for 3. That's a nice even number. There goes the American League. And it's playing all the games in the right order with the right starting lineups. Here's the National League, and then the computer's making all the game decisions. And then we'll look at the standings in Baltimore again. Way ahead, Minnesota won. So Minnesota seems to win their division handily. The Braves and the Mets. So this is actually what happened in real life. These are the teams that won in real life. The Mets beat the Braves in the playoffs. Orioles beat the Twins, and then the amazing Mets beat the Miracle Mets beat Baltimore. So there you go. Now, if you want to look at individual team, you can do that. Let's look at the pitching of the New York Mets because they were the most amazing ones. So not, the last run, here's what the pitchers did. And they won 93 and lost 69. Seaver didn't have quite as good of a season as he did in real life, but he had a pretty good season. So you can look at the teams, either the batting or the pitching for each team, or you can look at the league leaders. So let's look at I'll look at the National League because that's got some interesting things. I'll look at the batting first. Batting average, start with, I'll say it's 450 at bats is the minimum. So here is in my simulation how everyone, the top 15 batters for batting average, in the red name is the one who actually won it in the actual 1969. So Pete Rose won the batting championship. Willie McCovey won the home run hitting, but Aaron beat him out in this run. McCovey led in the RBIs, but Aaron did in this run. And you can see it kind of goes through everything. There's the doubles, there's the triples, there's the stolen bases, Lou Brock, there's the run scored. Here's the slugging, Willie McCovey. And then it even kind of says that, here's top candidates for MVP for batters. And Willie McCovey's the one who won it in 1969 by hitting 45 home runs, 126 RBIs, and batted 320. So you can see here, kind of close to that, not too far off. Now let's look at the leading pitchers. I'll do National League again, pitching. I'll start with Cy Young, or earned run average, and there's the earned run average leaders. Then we'll go to strikeouts. We'll go to, that was innings pitched before, now it's strikeouts, now it's wins, now it's losses, now it's saves, now it's games pitched, now it's the candidates for Cy Young. So Seaver is on this list here with some of the other pitchers of 1969 that you could pick if you wanted to pick a Cy Young for this last simulated run. So that being said, you can kind of see how the program works. Let's go ahead and play the game that I said I would play, and that will be a single game. I will manage the Tigers, and I'll let the computer manage Seattle. So we'll play at Seattle, so you can see the Seattle Stadium. So there we go. This is the stats from the last season run for the two teams. So I'll say yes to that. And for this game, I'll pick the top pitcher. So Denny McLain will pitch against Gene Brabander. And there's their pictures. I'll let the computer pick it. When you do 55, it'll automatically set a lineup, and it just randomly picks one of the lineups for that season. So this is the lineup it picked. I don't like that. I don't like Ike Brown in there, so I'll try another one. I don't like match. I want McAuliffe. I like Dick McAuliffe at second base. So I'm just picking it until it finds one that has Dick McAuliffe. There we go. So there's my lineup. That looks like similar to the lineup for the World Series in '68 since Stanley's playing shortstop. So I'll say yes to that. Then I'll let the computer pick a lineup for that. Actually, if I'm going to let the computer play, I'm going to have to start it over because I didn't say the computer should play. So show you how you start the game. You just run this program, then you pick 9. It's in 1969. Then I want to play against the computer this time. So I'll do it the right way, hit a C instead of a P, and I'll just do everything else just like I did. I'll say the computer manages Seattle. I'll pick Denny McLain. He picked Marty Patton. I'll do my lineup here. That's fine. I'll pick that lineup. He picked that lineup. The computer did that. I didn't do anything. I can say either I want to see the dice rolls or I don't, so I'll go ahead and say I want to see the dice rolls so you can see that. So here is Seattle Sick Stadium, S-I-C-K. It was a minor league park, and then it was a major league park for one season. And then, of course, when the Mariners came into town, they played at the Kingdome, and now they're playing in their beautiful new stadium. So here is the way this works. You can see the pitcher, you can see the batter, you can see the stats of the batter in this game, not in real life. And then those two colorful lines across the top one's the pitcher, and the bottom one is the batter against the type of pitcher that is out there. So that's Mickey Stanley against a right-handed pitcher. And the way this game works is you roll the dice for the pitcher. he may determine the outcome or he may not. And if he doesn't, then you roll the dice again for the batter. The dice are 3 dice. They go from 10 to 39. And across the colored bars, the left number is 10 and the right number is 39. So I won't explain anything else about the game until we go along. So he rolls a 25. You can see I highlighted where it is on the pitcher's line. So a green box just means that batter swings. So I roll it again, and a 24 on Mickey Stanley's is a blue box, which is a strikeout. So Stanley strikes out. Dick McAuliffe comes up. There's another green box and another strikeout. So Marty Patton has thrown all green boxes but got 2 strikeouts, and then he gets Kaline to pop out. So then here comes Seattle with Tommy Harper. Denny McLain throws a 34, and Harper strikes out by throwing a 25. McLain's 33 is nothing. Mike Hegan's 24 is a ground out, and there's a 35, and then a 24 is another ground out. So nothing happened in the first inning. Norm Cash leads off. There's an 18 by Marty Patton. That's a green K. What that means in Sports Illustrated Baseball is if the batter gets a hit, he gets a hit. If he doesn't get a hit, then he strikes out. So he rolled a 33. He got an F, which is a pop out. But since the pitcher got the K, that turns into a strikeout. Gates Brown comes up. A 14 is a 15 for Gates Brown is a ground out. A 16 is nothing, and then a 27 for Northrup is a flyout. So we're through an inning and a half, and there has been a base runner. Nothing pitch, and there's a strikeout of Don Mincher. There's a nothing pitch, and then there's their first hit. Rich Rollins rolls a 14 and gets that single over there on the left side that's circled, outlined in white, as you can see. So, and the way Sports Illustrated Baseball works for defense is that each player has a different number for playing defensive positions, and you add them all up, and the total gives you a number that becomes the defensive outstanding play. And if you roll it as a pitcher, you roll your team's number, then it's an automatic out, and you can see the 6 numbers 10 through 15 on every pitcher's cards are D's. So those are the numbers that could be the numbers to get an outstanding fielding play. If it's not an outstanding fielding play, then the batter swings on those ones. So this one happens to be an outstanding fielding play by Detroit. So Rollins is forced out at second on the play that Hovley hit a ground out. Catcher Jerry McNertney comes up, and Jerry strikes out, and that's the end of the second inning, and here we go. Matchik leads off with a 34 and then a single from Tommy Matchik. Bill Freehan, the catcher of the Tigers, all-star catcher, by the way, for many years, grounds in a double play. And here comes pitcher Denny McLain. As you can see, the pitcher's batting line is pretty bad. Denny McLain has only those 2 hits, and I think that's 27 and 28. And also 37. Oh, he's got some over on the left side, too. So he's got a few hits, but not too many. And he grounds out with a 35. 4s and 35, 34 are the highest chances of getting a roll because there's 3 3s, 2 2s, and 1 1 on the 10-digit dice and the black dice. You see the 2 there? There's 2 of those. There's 3 3s, and there's 1 1. So the 30s come up more than the 20s, which come up more than the 10s. So 21 for McLain is nothing. 26 for Ray Oyler is a single. Marty Patton comes up the pitcher. You can see this box here. That's the computer manager making a decision. He decided to bunt with his pitcher Marty Patton and a runner on first. So we roll the dice for a bunt, which is a 35. You can see the bunt chart pops up on the left. 10 is at the top, 39 is at the bottom. 2K in Sports Illustrated means he's got 2 strikes. If he tries to bunt again and get another 2K, then it's a strikeout. But if he tries to bunt it and get anything else, then it's that. So he's going to try to bunt again. So now we roll the 22, and it's a fielder's choice, which in bunting language means they tried to get the force out and they didn't get it, and Patton gets it safe at first. So you got 2 runners on now. And now they're going to have Tommy Harper bunt around the runners to second and third, maybe. He gets the 2K. The manager is going to try again, and his sacrifice is complete with a 13. So now we got Mike Hegan up with second and third and one out. I will intentionally walk Mike Hegan to hopefully get a double play out of Tommy Harper. We roll a 33, and we didn't get a double play. Instead, we got a single with a star, which means everyone advanced 2 bases, so they get 2 runs on that one. Don Mincher comes up, 15, and there's our double play. 34 is a double play from Don Mincher, but that was 1 batter too late, so it's 2-0. Mickey Stanley comes up. The pitcher can give up hits here, so a 27 by Marty Patton is a single, you can see, so he gets a single. So Stanley goes over to first base. McAuliffe comes up, he flies out. Al Kaline comes up. There's that K and a green K. Since he grounded out, it turns into a strikeout, which is lucky because it would have been a double play. Norman Cash comes up. There's an 11, and then there is a double for Norm Cash. Since it's just a 2, they only advance 2 bases. Had it been a 2 in parentheses, where he had a choice to score from first, or if it's 2-star, then he would have scored from first. Gates Brown comes up. The Gator grounds out to end the inning, and we're down in the bottom of the 4th. Rich Rollins. Rollins pops out. Here's Steve Hovley. He singles. Jerry McNertney. He grounds out. Hovley moves up to second. Ray Oyler. Oyler strikes out, so that's the end of the 4th inning. Here we go, Jim Northrup. Northrup leads off with a single. Tommy Machek comes up. 38 is on every pitcher card. You can see is that yellow X, which means this X chart pops up on the left, so I got to roll the dice to see what happens. And I rolled an 11, which happens to be a wild pitch. The second to the top box is 11. So Northrup moves up on the wild pitch. Machek rolls a 22, which is SF in parentheses, which means runner on third scores. Any other runner can tag in advance using the manager decision table, which you can see up on the left side of the screen. For a 1 runner, that is the situation. Reds are outs and greens are safe, and then there can be errors, there can be extra bases on throws. But it even tells you, my game tells you what the chances of being safe for a 1 runner. It's 48%. So I'm not going to take that chance with 0 out. So I'll just let him fly out, and Northrup will stay on second. Now Freehan comes up. He grounds out. He flies out. Denny McLain, maybe I should have tagged up. He grounds out. So here we are, bottom of the 5th. Marty Patton leads off with a single. But Tommy Harper grounds into a double play, and Mike Hegan singles, and Tommy Davis flies out. So here we are, top of the 6th, 2-0 still. But they walk Mickey Stanley, fly out for McAuliffe, and Al Kaline grounds in a double play. So not looking too good for the Tigers right now. Don Mincher grounds out. Rollins grounds out, and Steve Hovley singles, and catcher McNertney flies out. So we got Norman Cash, Gator Brown, and Northrup. You can see in the little yellow box that says who's coming up next. In case the relief pitcher is picked, you can look at that and see, who the lefties, righties are coming up. And the other little yellow box is all the options: how to bunt, how to steal, how to change the defense, how to do an intentional walk, those kinds of things. So 22 is a walk. Norman Cash leads off the inning with a walk. Gates Brown comes up. The Gators only batting 192 this year for the whole year, so I don't know if I should leave him in there. I think I'll pinch it, just how pinch hitting works. So against a right-handed pitcher, here's their lines for the pinch hitters. I'm going to pick Willie Horton. I'm bringing Willie in. Maybe he'll home run, tie the game. 23, he did not. He struck out with the 27. Jim Northrup comes up. All right, there's this 1 plus in parentheses, which means a runner on second scores. Everyone else can try to advance an extra base. Tommy Machek's coming up next. I will say no to that. So we have runners on first and second with Magic up, 31, and there's a fly out, and Bill Freehand strikes out. So wow, these Tigers are not doing too much right now. Ray Oyler is out. Marty Patton grounds out. Tommy Harper, the leadoff hitter, walks. Maybe he'll steal. Tommy Harper's a 5. You can see the running speed is down at the bottom underneath the picture. And he is. He's going to try to have Harper steal. We roll a 24 for the steal, and you can see there's the steal chart up and down for a 5 runner. Lots of green, lots of safes. The numbers on the bottom are the 30s, and they come up most. So anything, from the bottom up are the best ones to have green. And he gets to steal second base. We walk Mike Hegan. Tommy Davis comes up. We walk him. Better not walk anyone else. 34, pop out. So McLean gets out of the inning. We're going to have to pinch hit for him. We're down 2-0. Let's see who's got a lot of green. I'll pinch hit with shortstop Tommy Tresh. There's Tommy Tresh. At 12. Tommy Tresh does not do the job. He grounds out. Stanley comes up. He grounds out. McAuliffe walks. Kaline, come on, hit a home run. Kaline. He grounds out. All right, my pitcher was pinch hit for, so I need to bring in a reliever. Here are all the pitchers on this team that actually relieved during the season. So I have to pick one of those guys. I will pick Mike Kilkenny. Oh, there's Mike Kilkenny. The line on the top is now him. Rich Rollins, 35. 37 is a pop out. Steve Hovely. Hovely grounds out. McNertney, he grounds out. So Kilkenny is a good first inning. Norm Cash leads off with a single. Willie Horton, still in the game after pinch hitting for Gates Brown. Grounds into a force out, so Willie's on first. Jim Northrup. Northrup singles. We will not have Horton try for third since we're down by 2 runs. Tom Magic gets walked. All right, Bill Freehand, here's our chance. Bases loaded, 1 out. 34 is nothing from Patton. Hey, there we go. 15 is a sacrifice fly, so Horton comes in. Kilkenny comes up to bat. We'll pinch hit for him. Let's try Ike Brown. There's Ike Brown. Throws the 36 to Ike Brown, and Ike Brown throws the 33 and rounds out. So we got 1 run back. That wasn't enough. That was the 9th inning. So the final score is 2-1 Seattle. McLean loses. Marty Patton wins. There's the stats of the game. Tigers had 7 hits. 1 run, 1 double, nothing else. Seattle Pilots had 7 hits, but they had 2 runs. A lot of their hits came at the same time. Oyler and Patton are the ones who scored the runs. Both knocked in by Tommy Davis a single, so that was the only hit that brought in runs for the Seattle Marin Pilots. There's the Tigers pitching. There's the Seattle Pilots pitching. And there you go. That's how the game plays. And a little more information you probably ever wanted to know. So with that, I will sign off. Hopefully a little bit of this was interesting to anyone who watched it, and we will maybe do another one someday.